So last week I posted a video about how traumas can help us grow. If you haven't watched that video yet, take some time to pause this video and go back to watch it and then come to this one later. But someone commented under the video a really interesting question. And the question is, what are some steps to get over trauma other than self-isolation? And when you learn to coexist with it, how can you maintain a level of happiness and not be triggered, even if an old friend resurfaces in your life and reminds you of the past? So the first thing that comes to my mind when it comes to steps on how to get over traumas or learn from your traumas is that you should put yourself back into those traumas. And I know it's going to trigger you. I know it's going to make you feel some type of way. I know it's going to potentially ruin the moment of where you're at or ruin your day. That's fine. Do it on a day when you don't really have to go anywhere. You don't have a lot of things to do. You have that day to kind of just chill and be on your own and be in your own mind. Do it on one of those days, but think about that trauma. Think about that experience. Think about what happened and capture those emotions while you're thinking about it in real time. For me, I wasn't really good at just capturing it in my mind, so I had to write them down. So if I'm thinking about a situation and the first emotion that comes is fear, I'll write down, okay, fearful. Why? It's the next thing you ask yourself. Don't just write down an emotion. Ask yourself, why are you feeling this emotion? What made you feel this emotion? Or what do you think led to this emotion? What about the situation was scary for you? What about the situation was painful for you? Write those things down. What about the situation was irritating for you? Write those things down, right? And then write down the question, because I write down my questions too, because it's easier to write down a question and look at it and visualize my answer than it is for me to do everything up in my head. Doing things in your head sometimes all at once, because you're already thinking about it, you're already trying to isolate emotions, you're already trying to ask yourself other questions and then answer those questions all in your head. It can get jumbled. It can cause spirals, you can overthink. So I take the time to externally write those down, and yeah, it was easy for me to answer the questions. So the next question was, well, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? Or better yet, how has this improved me? How has this changed me? Right? How has this changed me? And it don't always have to be something good. It could be something, just make an observation. How has this changed me? Maybe I trust people less. Maybe I don't know, I do something that's a certain way that I never used to. Maybe I kind of move different in certain situations. How has it changed you? Right? Any small amount of change, right? Anything you noticed, right? How has it changed me? Right? Then the next thing you can ask yourself is, has it changed me for the good or better? Like, is this change good? Is this change bad? Like, how can I turn this change and use it for my life, right? Because I'm not saying that you should just get over your dramas. I'm not saying that you should just, oh man, that happened like 30 years ago, that happened 10 years ago, that ain't important no more. No, that's not how it works, right? I'm not gonna tell you that. But you can learn to coexist with it by learning that or understanding that even though those traumas happen in your life, you learn from them. They help you, they are part of you, and they shape you to be the person that you are today, right? So step one, isolate the emotions, figure out where the emotions stem from, figure out how the emotions made you change, and then categorize that change into good or bad. The changes are, and it's okay if you're not sure if it's good nor bad, just make another category, say you're not sure or whatever. The ones that are good, you wanna keep them, improve on them, alter them a little bit. Just try to apply them to your life in a more positive light, other than just being a change. For example, if the change that happened was, now when I go out, I don't trust people as much, and I typically tend to just stay on my phone and separate myself from people. That's fine if you need to separate yourself from people, but tweak that, because that's not going to really help you in the long run when it comes to human interaction, when it comes to making friends, when it comes to seeing how people are in a genuine sense. Because if you always separating yourself on your phone, even though people may be in your life, you don't actually see them for who they are. You know, you in your own little word. So you can tweak that. Um, on the bad side, for bad changes. So not all bad changes are actually bad changes. It's just how you look at it. It's just the perspective you're giving them, and then you can also alter those and make them into something that's good. For example, let's say that okay, if I get in a certain situation, I just shut down and walk away. That's something that's bad. It's a bad practice, but it doesn't always have to be bad. There's nothing wrong with taking time to step away from a conversation to calm your thoughts and come back. But the thing that you have to add on to that is that you have to come back, right? You can't just be shut down and walk away and never come back. You have to come back. When you walk away, you have to actively think about what's going on, calm yourself down, and come back, right? So separate it into good and bad, and go through the list and take out all the toxic stuff and improve on all the other stuff. The ones that you're not sure about, just leave it be. And the reason why I say that is because even if you're not sure about it now, as you go through this process continuously, and you go through each step and each step and each step, and it's not going to take a day, it's not going to take a week. It took me like 2-3 months, right? I've talked to other people and it took them a lot less. I talked to people and it took them a lot more. Don't rush through that process. Never put any kind of time label on yourself, ever. Because that's gonna, when you put a deadline on yourself, you feel rushed. You feel like you're not gonna accomplish anything because the deadline coming up, you be like, oh, I want to get this done by, I don't know, the end of the month, and I'm still only halfway there. I still ain't where I need to be, and you rushing, and it's not healthy. You giving yourself more things to stress about. Understand that your life, your emotions, what you're dealing with, your body, yourself, you are not a test. You're not school. You're not work. You don't have no deadlines on you, who you are. You don't got no deadlines on that, right? Going to the gym and getting fit, that's not a deadline on that. Getting mentally right, it's not a deadline on that. Getting financially right, that's not a deadline on that. Now there are like, you want to get those things done, right? There's I don't even know the word I want to use for it. But you have your goals. You want to get those things done, but you shouldn't really put a deadline on it because you don't know what the future can hold. So don't even try. Your dog, don't even try. But as you go through this process more continuously, it's going to be easier for you to go back to that I don't know list and identify other things off the list and be like, hey, well, actually, at first I didn't know, but now this actually might not be a bad thing. I can put this in the good category. Or this might be a toxic trait and we put this in the bad category. You know, it gets easier over time. It gets easier over time. And take all the time you need to go through the emotion, right? Even if you feel triggered, even if it's making you feel sad, you could stop for that day. Give yourself the time you need to recuperate and come back up and tackle on the problem another day. Once you don't give up, if you just leave it at that, the trauma is you're never gonna be able to live with it. Once you don't give up. So yeah, step one is think about the situation, put yourself back in the situation. Step two is isolate the emotions that you feel during the situation, write them down. Ask yourself questions, write down the questions. Why do I feel this way? Right? How can these emotions change me? Right? And then go down those lists of changes. That's step 4. Go down these lists of changes and either remove them or write them down to say, okay, this is a habit that I need to get rid of. And then write down on a separate list that there's habits that I need to keep, that I can improve on, that I can modify, that can, help me out in the future. So that's going to help you to coexist with those traumas because one, as you're actively thinking about it more and more, you're going to realize that you're going to get less triggered by it. you're gonna realize it's still gonna have an effect on your life, an impact on your life, but it's not gonna trigger you like it used to anymore. It's gonna be easy to talk about it. It's gonna be easier to think about it. It's gonna be easier to go through those emotions as you go through it, right? You're gonna realize that okay, those situations happen, right? But it is helping me. It is. It did create me. Help me to be the person that I am today. And that's the person that I am today is stronger than who I was when I was going through that situation. And the person that I am right now, when going through thinking about these things in order to improve my life, is going to be stronger than I am even right now. So it's going to get better. It's going to be easier to coexist with those traumas using these steps. The other part of the question: when you learn to coexist with it, how can you maintain a level of happiness and not be triggered? So, I plan to do a video on maintaining happiness in your, but just in overall life. But for now, I'll just say maintaining your happiness. I think a big part of it is acceptance, accepting who you are, like loving who you are. Like, I know that right now, I am a person that's going through a healing journey. I'm a person that's mentally, financially, physically improving. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm improving. Right? I'm taking the necessary steps that I need to improve and do better on those things. So I am okay with that. I'm content with that. Right? You could write a list of that too. You could say, okay, this is who I am right now. Like, this is what I need to work on. My mental, my physical, my emotional, my financial. These are the things I need to work on. Back to what I was saying a couple of videos about 8 pillars of wellness. Write down all those things. Write down what you need to work on, right? And write down what you don't want. What you don't want. And then say, okay, am I what I don't want? Because yeah, I don't want to be, poor. I don't want to be broke. But am I? Not necessarily, no. I'm not making the money that I would like to make to live as comfortably as I can, but I am not struggling. So I'm not. And once you realize that, okay, you ain't hit your goal yet, but you ain't down there bottom in the trenches type wide, then you can realize that, okay, I'm cool right now. Like, it's gonna add to your happiness. It's gonna help to keep you calm, maintain your happiness. For me, my thought process is as long as I keep trying, as long as I'm trying, as long as I'm improving day by day, even if I slip, even if I fall, it doesn't matter. As long as I keep trying, as long as I keep saving, as long as I keep thinking, as long as I keep meditating, as long as I keep praying, as long as I keep trying, then I am happy. I'm happy with myself and where I'm at, as long as I know that I'm trying to be better. As long as I know that, because as long as you try, as long as you put that effort in there, you will grow. You will get better. So that helps me to maintain my happiness. It's going to be different for everybody else. I can't tell you how to maintain your own, but just know that it all stems from being content with yourself, loving yourself, confident in yourself. It stems from that. If you aren't okay with who you are, understand that yes, you're going through struggles. Yes, you're going through your traumas. Yes, you're going through all these things. Yes, you ain't hit your goals yet. But if you're not okay with who you are right now, you ain't gonna be happy even if you hit them goals. So a big part of maintaining positivity, of maintaining a positive mindset, is being confident in who you are, accepting who you are. The last part is, even if an old friend resurfaces in your life and reminds you of your past, that's okay. When you, like I said earlier, you are actively thinking about these traumas. You're actively thinking about the past, right? And it's becoming easier and easier to talk about it, easier and easier to think about it, right? So if an old friend comes right now and they say, oh, this happened, or not even say it, if they were a part of the situation, maybe like not really directly, but they were there, they know what's going on, or you used to talk to them, used to vent to them, you have some type of memory that ties them to the situation. It ties into this trauma. If you see them again, or if they try to come back, you're not going to get triggered by it anymore because you've already spent all this time thinking about it yourself. They didn't need to remind you. You actively thought about it, and you got through the point where you had to get triggered by it. Now you still might feel some type of way over it because you still coexisting with it. It's still there, but you ain't gonna be triggered by it. It's gonna be easier to get through it, and you might not even feel some type of way about it anymore. Honestly, it affects people differently, but you're not gonna get triggered by it if an old friend comes up and they remind you about what's going on. You're not gonna get triggered by it because you already spent so much time thinking about it on your own, talking about it on your own, questioning it on your own. You never know. It might be easier for you to even bring up to somebody. It might be easier for you to go through those things, But overall, being content with yourself is gonna help with that too. Because even if, so adding on to the point of you already not tripping, not getting triggered because you're already thinking about it, but you also are aware that this is something that I am going through currently. This is a process that I'm going through. I'm improving on this. I'm trying to get through this. You know that, and you're content with that, right? So when the person come around and they remind you of the situation, not only are you not triggered, but you're okay, because in your heart you're content. In your heart, you are okay. You know that you're growing. You know that you're working through it. You are okay. But that's all I wanted to say for you all today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Baby, I'm the realest that they hop up on your same. So please look it, don't take me for no lame. I know it seems intense to deal a nigga from the island, but don't fall under pressure, I promise I'll keep you smiling.